Hello students, welcome to the online classes. Today I'll take you through the poem Dust of Snow by Robert Frost.
I request all of you to have your textbooks along with you, with your notebook, so that you can write down the important points. So this poem, Dust of Snow, is in page 14 in your first flight book. The Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. So Robert Frost was an American poet who depicted realistic life through language and situations familiar to the common man. Frost possesses a deep love and sympathy towards nature, which is the source for inspiration. His best works include The Road Not Taken and Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. I think you know this poem. You have come across this poem in your other classes. And this poem, The Dust of Snow, is a simple and short poem, yet with a deeper and larger meaning. So let's learn about this poem. It's a 2-para poem with just 8 lines. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. This poem, in the first paragraph, tells you that it's a scene where the poet is in a very bad mood and is walking by a tree, which is a hemlock tree. And hemlock tree is usually a poisonous tree associated with sad, bad omen. And as he passes by, a crow happens to throw some dust, some snow or dust on him. Now it is not clear whether the crow is actually on the tree. So we don't have any clear idea about it. It is just told that the crow shook some dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So in the first stanza, we see that the entire mood is gloomy. The poet is sad, and he has associated this gloominess with two object of bad omen. The one is a crow and the other is a hemlock tree. And these both are signifiers of sadness and gloom, just like the poet's mood was in the opening scene. And for reasons unknown, the author was having a very terrible day. So in the second stanza, he says that the falling of the snow on his head lifted his mood instantly. So he had already spent his day in a very bad mood, but the rest of it was saved by the crow and the hemlock tree. So I'll read the second stanza once again. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. So generally a hemlock tree and crow are used for negative references, but the poet used them beautifully to portray that inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. One must not take things for granted and should not be open and accept whichever way the nature chooses to bless us. So he has had a very bad day, but the falling of dust of snow or the snow flakes from a hemlock tree has changed his day, which actually he believed to have been ruined. And in this poem, he has used 3 symbols, which is the hemlock tree, the crow, and the dust of snow. So what does the poet actually portray? It portrays irony. So what is irony? So here, irony is something which tells you exact opposite of what is actually in the scenario. Here in this poem, the crow, the dust, and the hemlock tree, which represents bad omen, and we feel as if something bad is going to happen, but they actually give relief to the poet, and which is exactly the opposite. So that is the irony in the poem. And the poet explains how an act as petty as experiencing snow on one's body can brighten one's day up. So the message given by the poet, Robert Frost, in this poem, Dust of Snow, is a positive change which takes place through negativity also. So little things can bring big change in life. Simple act of kindness done can inspire others with enthusiasm and may bring huge change in their lives. So I hope you understood the poem. Now let's look at the literary devices and the rhyming scheme. So there are three literary devices. The first one is enjambment. So if you look at the style of the entire poem, enjambment means any sentence or idea which is continued to two and more lines is called enjambment. So if you look at the poem, it starts from the way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So the idea is continued from the first line till the fourth line. And even in the second paragraph, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. So the first line in the second stanza, the idea is continued to the fourth line. And you see he has used the full stop in the end. So that is called enjambment. The first and the second para displays this characteristic. The second literary device is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is repetition of the same consonant sounds of closely placed words. Now if you look at the poem again, has the second paragraph or the second stanza, first line, has given my heart. So the word ha or h is a consonant and it is very closely placed. So the consonant sound is repeated. And again in the third line of the second stanza, and saved some part. So the word s, sound is repeated again. So you have alliteration in these two lines. Then the next one is consonants, like the word explains, consonants. So which means again repeating the consonant sound. It is not similar consonant sound, so you don't get confused with alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of same consonant sounds, but consonants means repetition of the consonant sound. Now if you look at the last line, of a day I had rued. So d, her and r. So these three consonants, d, h and r, these three sounds are closely associated. So that is the literary devices. Now what's the rhyming scheme of the poem? Now in the first stanza, the way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. So crow and snow is rhyming, me and tree is rhyming. So it is A, B, A, B. The same pattern is followed in the second stanza also. Heart, mood, part and rude. So heart and part is rhyming and mood and rude is rhyming. So C, D, C, D. As we have already learned how to form the rhyming scheme, so you must have understood this. So these are the literary devices and the rhyming scheme. Now let us look at what are the important questions from the board point of view. So the first one will be, what led to the change of poet's mood? The entire poem is telling about the poet's mood. So this is going to be your, one of the important questions. What led to the change of poet's mood? As explained, you will bring in the objects or the symbols which actually brought a change in his mood, which is the crow and the hemlock tree and the snowflakes or the dust of snow. The second question is, how can you tell that the poet's mood was sad? So in this question, the first paragraph, the first stanza tells you about the poet's mood was sad because the poet has used words which is associated to bad omen, like hemlock tree and the crow, and so that the entire situation is set with these symbols, so you can tell the poet's mood was sad. So you have to explain the first paragraph. Then the third question is, explain the usage of crow and the hemlock tree. So how did the poet use the crow and the hemlock tree, and for what did the poet use that? So you will write accordingly. The fourth question which is likely to come is, what does the poet want to explain through the poem? So this is a very important question. So what does he try to explain? What he wants to explain? So what he wants to tell? He wants to destroy the man-made belief of the human mind. Like we all have small superstition which is believed in the society. So through this poem he wants to convey the message that these silly small superstition beliefs may actually not be a bad omen. They can these simple acts or these simple objects can change or create a huge impact in somebody's life. So these are the four questions, because we will get questions based on the theme of this poem. So I hope you have understood the poem. Thank you so much.